How Boruto got this opportunity, or even took advantage of it, turned out to be the perfect chance to regain recognition and also gain a kind of tolerance, though it wasn't really tolerance. Rather, it was a situation where Boruto's existence would truly be considered much more deeply. Yep, that's at least one sentence to represent the next 8 minutes. I'm Nim, and I really appreciate it if you'd help me push this video to 100 likes. And once again, thank you so much, guys. So yeah, if we draw a common thread from all the events in Boruto so far, there's one big question that might be very relevant after chapter 30 comes out. Perhaps more accurately, some assumptions and predictions from fans about Lord Kobu's final scene. Will Boruto come to save him, or will he actually die at that point without anyone saving him from Mamushi's attack? And of course, all of this is related to whether Boruto still has one last chance to turn everything around, or even whether he can still be considered innocent of the accusations that have been damaging his reputation. However, in this case, many people think the answer is as simple as one thing: the loss of a key character. I mean, Boruto's world is now running on a foundation that has already been twisted or manipulated. People's memories have changed, people's positions in life have been switched. And most importantly, none of that happened because of Boruto's choices. Since the end of the first part, we can see how the storyline continues to push Boruto into the most disadvantageous position. He lost his identity, lost his home, and lost the right to defend himself. Not because he lost, but because the world had already decided that he was wrong. And ironically, that decision feels like an inevitable fate that cannot be resisted. However, in the midst of all that, Boruto is not completely alone. Because basically, there is one factor that keeps Boruto alive until now. It's not great power or anything like that, but rather the decision of several characters who refuse to accept that reality. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? Because believe it or not, without their intervention, Boruto wouldn't have made it this far. He might have been captured or even disappeared long before the story of Two Blue Vortex began. And interestingly, Boruto himself is not the type of character who would hurt others in order to survive. Even when his life is threatened, he still holds back. Because in truth, his life isn't truly meaningful to him if the life of the person most precious to him is in danger. And the problem is, when it comes to protecting others, Boruto himself certainly doesn't have the capacity to do so to the fullest extent. And when one by one, the people standing by Boruto's side begin to die, it means that the story takes a turn. Interestingly, after all that, the story doesn't get darker. Instead, we start to see something strange. Some characters who should be on the opposite side slowly show attitudes that don't quite match their memories. It's as if there is a small flaw in the system that has always been considered perfect. And that flaw is important, and at this point, fate is no longer completely one-sided. Boruto begins to regain something more valuable than just power, and that is support. Not a lot of support, but at least enough to prove that the current reality is not entirely solid. Most interestingly, the change comes from the character who's been at the center of the problem from the beginning. Someone who should have stood firmly on one side now looks uncertain, and that uncertainty opens up new possibilities. What if the change in this world can only be undone by the same person who once locked it in place? This is where the idea of a last chance comes in. Not a chance to fight, not to defeat anyone, but a chance to restore life to how it should be. A chance that may only come once, and may come at a very high price. And if we look deeper, this story isn't just about Boruto and Kawaki. It's about how destiny can change not because of power, but because of choice. About how someone who almost lost everything became the reason the world slowly began to doubt itself. The question now is no longer, can everyone's memories return, but who dares to make that final decision, and when? Because if that opportunity passes, there may never be a second chance. Or perhaps, at least among various other probabilities, can it at least provide significant tolerance for Boruto's existence itself? Yeah, those are probably some sentences I think are very relevant to this case. Especially, again, this is about chapter 30. And once again, regardless of any assumptions, theories, analyses, or the like that we've discussed, especially regarding Ida's fate as a character who has deceived reality, when you watch this video, you should already see how the worst case scenario must be taken if Ida is truly in the worst situation. I mean, to prevent something far worse, Kawaki made a decision that was even more cruel than just sealing Ida and delaying things. Yeah, you still remember this, right? And once again, regardless of how we speculate or even analyze Ida's death, honestly, it's a theory that's quite difficult to accept, especially if Ida's death will automatically restore Boruto and Kawaki's status, right? Because I think it would all be useless if Ida really died. because based on what has happened, the fact is that Zeno's abilities or omnipotence cannot be canceled just because of Ida's death. Zeno will continue to be active or will continue to exist as long as Ada does not change it with her own will. So what does Boruto's last chance to restore all these memories mean? Well, if we compare or think logically, it could start with Boruto's own decision. I mean, how big of an impact would it have if Kobu's rescue was done by Boruto himself? Because as we've seen in several previous chapters, I think the only way to prove it is with evidence itself. I mean, not just based on testimonies or something like that from people. You know what I mean, right? In short, Konohamaru himself is really stubborn, even similar to the elders of Konoha or even Lord Kobu. For example, in the middle of the Shinju invasion against the Konoha shinobi, Boruto managed to defeat Hidari, but there was a point where Boruto received a fatal blow that even knocked him down. Ironically, after everything Boruto did to protect everyone, he still received poor treatment and was even handcuffed. Look at when Konohamaru's own life was in danger in the Land of Wind. After going through various difficulties that even put his own life at stake, Boruto's arrival, against the rules and even risking his own life, made Konohamaru realize that Boruto's existence must be taken into consideration rather than just seeing him as a criminal. Seeing the results of the previous interrogation, especially how Konohamaru stood up to protect his status amid accusations that the Konoha elders believed were part of Boruto's plan to destroy Konoha from within, Konohamaru firmly stated that none of it was as they thought. And although the courage to take such a risk by defending a fugitive ninja was his own, at least there was a pattern that might be relevant enough to answer or perhaps reveal the outcome of the daimyo's own decision regarding Boruto. Or at least, if not now, but looking at how a pattern has already occurred with Boruto, I think this is quite relevant if the case is to protect the life of the daimyo's deputy himself, who even wanted to kill Boruto. But again, what if, in the end, in the middle of Koji's scenario of triggering Mamushi to attack, Boruto manages to thwart it? And yep, at this point, I won't discuss what we've discussed before, such as what would happen if Boruto did that and what the stakes, or perhaps even worse consequences would be if Boruto chose to protect Kobu. Because at this point, it's all about how a scenario could restore Boruto's trust or status as a criminal ninja, even if it's not exactly what they think. And one of them, as I just said, logically, even though Boruto's decision to save Kobu is a bad choice because it will trigger something much worse, I think this will at least give Boruto some room for consideration or leniency. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? Because after all, if the pattern is that it must be based on direct evidence, not from other people, but from the person himself, at least this reason makes sense if Ida is not the only one to restore Boruto's existence as a good Konoha ninja and not a criminal. But on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you? Or how big do you think the impact would be on Boruto himself if he actually manages to save Kobu? I really want to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments. Oh yeah, one more thing. A few hours ago, my channel just received a strike from my Chapter 30 review. And honestly, up until now, I still don't really know what to do. So as a precaution in case something worse happens, I'd really appreciate it if you could help me by subscribing to my second channel as a backup. I know this community isn't that big yet, but I truly hope you guys are willing to support me. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for all the support. I'm Nim, and I'll see you in the next video.